Hello guys, this is Ice Apples. For this video I want to talk about Frogile. I want to talk about what positions are important on the map and how they kind of affect each other. I want to talk about which champions fill different roles and kind of how to set up your team composition. And at the end I'll go into two examples of team composition from Pro Scene and kind of explain what their goals are and what they want to do. So the way I like to start thinking about a map like this is what are the most important spots. And if we look at the picture that I put up, we've got three very important spots in Frogile. We've got the window, we've got the stage, and we've got what I call the top lane there. And your support's going to be at the yellow X, kind of hugging the wall there. And let's talk about what the stage, controlling the stage does for you. So controlling the stage is very nice because you can basically reach any spot from the map there, and also you put their back wall very dangerous. So you kind of threaten the positioning of the support, get him off of that ideal spot so he can't heal anywhere he wants. Because right now if you've got a Maldamba there, he can heal the window, he can heal the top lane, and he can heal the stage. It's just perfect. So now the window is very important because if you put a long range damage dealer up there, like a Shaolin or Kinessa, he can just see all of the flank pressure coming into him. That whole top lane is visible. You can hit them, you can kind of disrupt them before they even come to you, so it's really hard to get there. And you can help out the stage. You can also help out the point if any tank is standing there, if you just stand on the other side of the window. So when you're playing Frogile, how do you actually think about the... We know the roles and stuff, but how do you actually think about the game? So what I've discovered, there's basically two ways that I know of. You have the yellow circles or you have the red line. And the yellow circles kind of show that there's two fights going on most of the time. These yellow circles, they change a lot and they can be more aggressive, like the yellow circles could be more near the ledge or something. And with these yellow circles, what you think is, which one do I want to affect more? So say you're a backline champion, you gotta say, does the stage need more pressure right now, or does that top lane need more pressure? So the other way to think about the game is the red line. And the red line is basically where what chokes, or what position players are making sure people don't get by. So as that top lane, your goal is to keep your backline safe. If somebody crosses that red line, that becomes difficult for you, and that becomes somebody you have to push back away so they don't do as much damage and your backline can still be safe and affect whatever fight he's doing. So now that we kind of know how to play and think about this Frogile, let's talk about some of the champions and the roles of each champion, kind of what you're looking to do. So your backline, it's kind of been said already, but you kind of want a person with long range, kind of like Drogos or Shaolin, that can. So a window champion would be a backline champion, just somebody that can affect both fights, both yellow circles, easily. So yeah, your bottom lane, you've got kind of stage control and point capture. That's kind of your goal. So stage control, the benefits of that is you push away the healer from his ideal positioning, so that's a very nice thing. Or point pressure, obviously you start capping points. And the role of the top lane and the middle lane is kind of to keep that top lane safe, kind of make sure nobody gets by, hold your red line, and also threaten the enemy backline champion so he does a lot less damage on your front line, so that's nice. So now I kind of want to talk about the champions and also how all of these different positions kind of work together. So the way I always think about it is, how strong does my top lane have to be? How much pressure do they have to be to eventually cap the point? So a lot of that pressure gets defined by how strong your backline champion is at 1v1ing or how safe he'll be. So for example, if you've got a Kinessa, you need the strongest front line, top lane that you're gonna have. just because Kinessa can't 1v1 anybody, she wants to stay in the back, stay safe, and just snipe people. So if you can hold that top lane very well, it's very nice. Nobody's gonna really go flank through the bottom lane, so you want your top lane strong. But say if you have the opposite, you kind of have Bomb King, and the way Bomb King works as a damage backline guy is he's not actually there, he's kind of more in the fight, front line. He's not typically, but yeah, he'll be front line, top lane-ish. And then he can easily jump to the other side of the map and go help out that bottom lane. So then that Bomb King still serves as a damage champion that can pick whatever fight he wants to fight at. So with a Bomb King that wants to be in that front line anyway, why would you need a very strong top lane? You know, he can just get out very quickly. You're not giving him, you're putting him in a position where their top lane is going to be able to kill him easily anyways, so you don't have to hold something that he's like already there. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, now let's talk about the supports of it and why it's very important that the stage gets held, and that indirectly leads to how strong your bottom lane, you want your bottom lane to be. So your support, if they've got a Ying, the Ying is not gonna be able to heal that top lane anyway, so she's got no effect on that top lane. So then it's much less important to go hold the stage, because your goal of holding the stage is to push your support back a little so she can't heal the top lane. But if Ying can't do that anyways, what's the point of holding the stage? You might as well just go stand point and chill there and get some points and fill your role that way. So, but if they have the Ceres and the Dumba, or the Dumba, then it's very important to hold stage, because say you've got a weaker top lane and they're gonna lose it, and you know they have the weaker top lane. So then if you can push out the healer, then that top lane becomes a lot less viable. So now let's talk about the actual champions that fill these roles. Let's start with the damage dual range thing. The Bomb King I already talked about. The Drogos is going to be flying around, basically your healer, just doing a lot of damage on stage and point. Your Kinessa can affect both fights very easily. Your Grover's an exception. Your Grover's kind of a counter to a window champion. Not so much Kinessa, because Kinessa just can stand by the tree and it's much harder to hit her, but Shellen's always going to be at that window. Or Shellen's ideal positioning is at that window. Victor needs a little bit less range than the Shellen or the Kinessa or the Drogos. So Victor's not perfect as your damage guy, but it's not bad either. So now let's talk about the top lane. The top lane is going to have like two champions that are very good at damaging, like can take some damage and can really have a lot of burst or something. Or yeah, so it comes down to how strong you want your top lane to be and what the job is of the top lane. So if you've got a Kinessa, I think you want your top lane to be not so much threatening and crossing the red line that I talked about before, but more making sure nobody else crosses it. So that's where a Grok would be good at, because you kind of fight with Grok, he turns around the corner, he heals up, then you gotta fight again with him. You can't just like run past him, because then the backline champ, you'll be putting yourself in a 2v1 with that Grok and the backline champion. So, and Grok has a lot of survivability, it's hard to kill him, so that's why he's kind of nice there in that top lane. Makoa, same thing, he's got a lot of survivability, he's even got the CC to pull you, if you're just trying to get past him, get back to that damage carry, he can just CC you, very nice. Fernando's kind of the same way, tanky, but Fernando and Makoa are much better at crossing the red line than Grok is. Eevee is probably one of the best champions to cross the red line. She can get in and out very quickly, so that's nice. Your Androx is just great, 1v1 champion, a lot of mobility, can dodge a lot of damage. He can kind of serve as both holding that red line or crossing it and kind of threatening their damage. Androx is very strong. you see high level players in solo queue always keeping that ledge with Andraxis just to hold that position and go for that damage backline whenever they see the opportunity. Your Buck is like one of the best champions 1v1, so that's very nice. He's almost never gonna die, and he's got not a lot of damage, not a lot of burst, but you can't really ignore him and pass by him as much as you would a Grok. So that's why I really like Buck. It's very strong top lane. Cassie's kind of the same, a lot of sustainability with her dodge roll things, even though I think disengage is the only viable thing right now. Yeah, Cassie's, it's also nice to have a bit more range in that top lane, because then she can really affect both fights that she wants to, so both the yellow circles. Lex, my problem with Lex in the top lane is he doesn't really have so much survivability. If two people get on him very quickly, it's hard for him to get out. He's got one dash, and if he's not out with that one dash, then he gets into trouble. So with Lex, I would like to see like a long range support like a Saris that can really help him out, and then your top lane becomes very, very strong. Your Makoa again can be in the top lane. So yeah, I think I've kind of covered all the positions now and kind of how to pick stuff. What I want to do now is kind of look at different team compositions. I won't be going into actual gameplay, but kind of what their goal is and how they're going to be kind of creative with their compositions and show how you can affect that red line. So let's talk about this composition. This composition was from today, qualifiers for DreamHack week 3. It was between District 69 and Flashpoint. So they're running pretty standard stuff. On District 69 side, they've got the two tanks, which is meta right now. They've got their top lane pressure with the Andraxis and the Bomb King, and they've got the Domba kind of staying at that yellow X there. And then on Flashpoint side, I kind of like what they've done. They've kind of said, we're gonna do something weird. We're not gonna pick a top lane thing, but we're gonna buff our damage champions a lot with the Torvald and with the Saris. So then it doesn't really matter if we leave open that top lane, because as soon as they come to us and they're attacking, we're gonna shield them. We're gonna give them a lot of HP, and they'll just become that insane damage dealer that can fight that top lane, and it doesn't matter if they get onto us anyways. So that's kind of how they set it up, and what you'll see a lot here is Cog will be like on the yellow X I said before. Shaolin will probably be window. Drogo's also flying around, so there's going to be a lot of pressure on the bottom side of the map, and you've got, because you still need a bit of kill pressure, so you don't have a flanker to get behind them and kind of finish off the kills that from people that get poked off. So you still need a bit of kill pressure, and that happens with Makoa. Now, talking about which composition I like more, I think I like District 69's more, because Flashpoint always has to react to District 69. So they're always gonna kind of hit the front line until that top lane comes, and then they'll buff their back line and kind of hope they push them out or kill them, get a lucky stun or something, just overload them with damage and hope that they fuck up. And that's kind of why I don't like this composition. They're hoping for mistakes from District 69. They're hoping that they'll come and won't be able to back off in time and just overload with damage. While District 69, they're just holding that stage and that front line. As soon as if you can get Cog out of that yellow X, he's got a lot less pressure on the Drogos and the Shaolin, because he's put off behind kind of, and he won't have so many angles to heal them. Same with Torvald. Like if you're gonna get that backline, how are you gonna help out? How are you gonna shield them unless they peek? So you can't truly, like, you really need very good communication when it happens. So I feel like their composition's kind of weaker. So now I want to talk about another game. It's gonna be District 69 again on the right side, with Snake on the left side. And here there's a bit more standard stuff going on. They didn't completely ignore the top lane either side. So you've got your, on District 69 side, you've got your Drogos. That's just your standard thing. So what we talked about before, since you have a Drogos, you don't need that insanely strong front line. So they're picking champions that can easily cross that red line rather than keep it. Obviously, Buck and Andrew can definitely keep that top line, but that's not really what they're going to be playing for. They're going to be playing for getting behind them, kind of disrupting them there. So on the side of Snake, I really like it because you've got much more damage on that top side, but then you've got your longer range healer anyways to give them that survivability that they're missing. So I definitely like it more. You've also got your Ruckus that can kind of choose whether he wants to be on stage or point. So stage would be pressuring out the Ying. I guess we've already kind of talked about this where it's not so useful. So they'll probably just put the Ruckus kind of on point, and they'll give Fernando kind of the freedom to swap between both fights and kind of shield from the Jorgos for Ruckus, make sure he doesn't get hooked too much or something like that, kind of help out when he gets low, and then also go help out the top lane that should be taking a lot of damage as well and just kind of disrupt there. So that's kind of the roles you have in this game. And then you can also be very creative with these compositions, and the way to start thinking about that is different champions can fill different roles with their ultimates. So for example, that Makoa could go, in the beginning of the game, I'm pretty sure they did this once, they sent him with his ultimate in that top lane, and they just made him ult right away. They've got a lot of damage, so you gotta make sure you don't get nuked, but if you send him to that top lane, you really disrupt the positioning of the Bomb King and the Lex. You can really allow your Buck or your Andro to get behind them and disrupt them there a bunch. Yep. So now, what is the goal of Snake's side? So Snake's side kind of wants to pressure. They've got a lot more damage, so they want to pressure that top side. They want to pressure the ledge, kind of force people back into the lower part of the map, and then start using your ultimates when they're all grouped up and just overload on pressure. What District 69 are trying to do is they just picked a lot of kill potential. They want to affect that red line a lot, jump over it, get kind of crazy, and just mess up that red line as much as possible. So I think I'm going to end up the video here. I think there's a lot of creative stuff you can do, but I think thinking about the positions and kind of how strong your top lane has to be because of your backline, how much impact the stage is going to affect the enemy team, kind of see what part of the map they're weak at and try to punish that. And what I really haven't talked about in this video is how the ultimates come into play. I think that's also a very important part that you should do, and how the ultimates and who should combine them, and when do you need the pressure of your ultimates. So yeah, till next time guys.